In today's video, we will go over the functions SumIf and SumIfs. Here is the example spreadsheet we will work with. Let's pretend we work for a grocery store, and we have a list of sales transactions that happened today and yesterday. Now let's say the manager wants to see the total number of apples sold. That's the kind of problem SumIf and SumIfs will solve. First, let's narrow it down to one function and make it a little bit easier. I have not found a reason to ever use SumIf, ever. SumIfs can do everything SumIf does, and more. Also, for some stupid reason, the two functions ask for the parameters in different orders. It's just easier to use the better function and forget the other one exists. So let's find the total number of apples sold. I'm going to stick them right here. Apples. Okay. To find the total number of apples sold, we're going to say equals SumIfs, open parentheses. It's asking for the sum range. Obviously, the thing we want to sum is the quantity sold. You can highlight like I just did, or if your list is really long, you can just say the column. If you say the column, these other cells will be included if you ever add more rows. So I tend to try to use the columns. I'm going to put a comma in, and the criteria range is the product, if that makes sense. The criteria itself is apples. Now I could say, in quotation marks, apples. Like that. And it would work. But if I were ever going to make this a summary of all the fruits, it's more useful to use a cell reference like this one and say apples, but based on this. So I could put pears here and just drag the formula down, and it would sum up the pairs. So now I'll hit enter, and for some reason it didn't work. If you do it that way, well, even if you don't, you have to make sure that this matches that exactly. I've got apples, and in this column I've got apple. So let's change it to apple. And it says we've sold 54 apples. But what if you need the number of apples sold today? So let's come over here and do the same kind of summary. Apple, no S this time. And let's also put another criteria. Let's say it needs to be on 6/23/2016. Oops. Enter. Then I can say equals SumIfs. It's the same sum range. I'm still summing the quantity. The first criteria is the same. We're going to say this column has to equal apple. Then the second criteria is the date, and it has to equal the one I just wrote down. Close parentheses. 18. 18 apples sold today. 6/23/2016. If you ever want to do a less than or greater than in this cell, or in this criteria, like say you wanted to do apples sold before today, you can't just add a less than sign. It gives you an error like that. It's a little tricky, but you'll have to use quotation marks around the less than sign, and then put an ampersand or an and symbol between the quotation mark section and the variable or the cell reference. "36 apples sold before today." So that would be the sum of these. If I had said less than or equal, just to prove that this is working, 54, just like the one that's summing all of those. Before we wrap this up, you should note that there are other functions that work very similarly to SumIfs, such as countifs, and in the newest versions of Excel, I think there's a minifs and a maxifs. I will do another video tomorrow about when you shouldn't use Excel. I'll spend a good amount of time on how to get Microsoft Word to format for you instead of using Excel for its formatting characteristics. And next week I'll cover several string functions that will include things like, what does that ampersand do? Why do we need it? And how to put a formula result in a sentence. Doesn't happen very often, but sometimes it's useful. And how to get a small piece of text in a cell and use it in your formula. Like, say you wanted to get, from this cell you wanted to get the first word, quantity. Oops, don't mess up that formula. But that wraps up this video. If you enjoyed watching this short tutorial, please like the video, subscribe to my channel, and share with anyone you think would benefit. And feel free to comment below. Thanks for watching.